Even though we didn't get a new map this season, Season 6 feels so much different than Season 5. In this video, I'm gonna go over some tips and tricks to get you accustomed to this brand new meta. Just like in Season 5, not all of the changes in Season 6 were put in the patch notes. As you know, Rampart is new, and there are ways to use her and to not use her to make her good and bad. In this video, I'm gonna go over how to use her well, and I'm also gonna go over how to counter a Rampart because they can be really annoying to fight in pubs. I'm also gonna explain the new crafting system in Apex. There's a lot of stuff there. It's more complicated than I initially thought. I will explain it simply and quickly for you. After watching this video, you should have a pretty good idea of what Season 6 is all about and how to dominate in it. So let's get into Season 6 tips and tricks. I'm Alarmix, and let's get into the video. Like I was saying before, it's very annoying to run into a Rampart in pubs, and it can be even more annoying to try to push a Rampart. If you have a squad sitting behind amped cover, it's pretty much impossible to push them. One of the best ways to counter this in the first place is to stop the amped cover from even deploying. You do have a couple of seconds after Rampart deploys or amped cover to shoot it when it has no health. So if you see amped cover being placed, make sure to shoot it right away before it comes a pain in the back. If you can shoot it in time, Rampart is not near as good. If the cover does happen to be fully deployed, the shield on top has 180 health. You can shoot that, so just the bottom metal part will still be there. If you can deal that quick 180 damage to the shield on top, it will stop the invincibility that the enemy team has behind it, and it will also stop the kind of crazy damage boost that the enemy team will receive from the amped cover. But if you don't want that little piece of metal on the ground for the enemy team to sit behind and hide, you can shoot the metal on the bottom of the shield, and it has 400 health, and they will have nothing to hide behind. Another great way to counter Rampart, if she has a bunch of amped cover up, maybe even say her minigun, you can actually go ahead and just nade the heck out of everything, and there's not a whole lot they can do about it. Unless in one horrible scenario, they have a Watson ult sitting next to all of the amped cover and minigun. That may be a part of the Season 6 meta, which is actually pretty unfortunate. Can you imagine it? People having a complete awesome setup, you know, Watson traps everywhere, and then the amped cover and miniguns. That is completely insane, but later in the video, I'm gonna get into more Rampart stuff just like this, but I'm gonna change up the video a little bit and talk about some other tips and tricks. The precision choke has now officially been removed from the loot pool and has been integrated into the triple take by default. You can now carry larger stacks of sniper ammo, so people, this means that you should use the triple take. The triple take is even better than it was last season. The triple take is such a versatile weapon because you can use it as a shotgun and a sniper, but now with the built-in precision choke, it is just so good. Give it a try. Now that the R99 is in the care packages, light ammo is kind of out of the meta just a little bit. The R301 and G7 are still very good, but there's no R99 to accompany the R301 or G7. So what is meta? People, heavy ammo is absolutely good, and energy is almost overpowered. The Havoc now can have a max of 36 bullets per magazine if you get the purple energy mag. Also, the Devotion is pretty overpowered. I mean, you don't even really need a turbocharger, and this thing is built for squad wiping. And the Volt SMG is such a great gun to accompany either the Havoc or the Devotion. This is such a god tier loadout to have the Volt and then the Devotion or the Havoc. All you need is one turbocharger, and then the Havoc or Devotion is set. You don't need a turbocharger or really even a barrel on the Volt to make it really work. It is pretty accurate. My friends, now all recon legends can now use survey beacons. So that is right, not only Pathfinder can use it, but Crypto and Bloodhound. But a cool fun fact with Crypto's drone, you can actually go fly up to the survey beacon. You do not have to run all the way up there, and you can instantly use the survey beacon. On the channel, we were theorizing about what Pathfinder's other passive ability would be. They didn't actually really give Pathfinder a super crazy other ability. Now, if you use a survey beacon with Pathfinder, it will actually decrease the cooldown on his ultimate for the entire game. Every time you use a survey beacon, it will decrease his ultimate cooldown by 10 seconds, and you can do this a maximum of 6 times. So you go from Pathfinder's ultimate ability charging in 120 seconds to 60 seconds. So if you are in pubs and you didn't really think it was worth it to go all the way up to the survey beacon, it may be worth it now. My tip here is to make sure you're using survey beacons if you're using Pathfinder. Just a fun fact, there's a new healing interface. It looks a little bit different, and it looks way better now. You know, GG's to Respawn to making that aspect way better. There are now these rising walls around World's Edge. If you can find these panels, you can actually rise and also take down these walls, which is just a really cool way to interact with the brand new feeling World's Edge. Something that maybe not everyone caught, in World's Edge there are now performance improvements. Going from King's Canyon to World's Edge on PC, my FPS has decreased quite drastically, but now that is fixed a decent bit. So now some areas on on the map that have a lot better performance is around the tree, dome, skyhook, and towards the center of the map. People, even if you're on console, that means if you're by these areas, the game is gonna look a lot better. Now, Crypto can respawn his teammates with his drone. That is super cool. But now, friendly EMPs of Crypto will affect the teammates. Crypto has been given even more cool things that he can do with his drone, but now they kind of nerfed the whole Revenant push, which is, I don't know, kind of a cool change in my opinion. I really like all of the changes that were done to Crypto this season. With Rampart, you can actually have up to 3 miniguns out at once. People, that is insane. I would love to see a squad that all had miniguns. That would be super toxic, but at the same time, pretty cool. But ladies and gents, before I explain the crafting system, there's a lot of stuff there. If you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, it'd be really cool if you go below this video and hit that subscribe button. What can I say, people? Season 6 of Apex Legends is going to be pretty cool here. Now I'm going to talk about the brand new crafting system. There is a lot of stuff here. I'm sure you guys will learn at least a few things. So the brand new stations around World's Edge, these are called crafting stations, and in lore, they are kind of like 3D printers. You can use these printers to make supplies to help you win the game, but you will need materials to make it work. There are a couple of ways that you can get materials to make these things work. A way to do this is to open loot bins and you will receive materials. Another way to do it is that there will be these little extraction areas. You can click interact on the dropship to see these areas, or you can open up your minimap. Once you get materials and you make it to a crafting station, there will be 8 different options of things to craft. The things inside of this crafting station, the items will rotate on a daily or weekly basis. But don't worry, people, you will always be able to know what is inside of this crafting station. In the game mode selector, you will be able to see what is in the crafting stations, and also on the loading screen, you should see it momentarily. Now that all of the armor is Evo, it's really cool that you can actually upgrade your Evo armor with your crafting materials at these crafting stations. So even if you're pretty kitted out, if you happen to not have full Evo armor, or if you happen to have your armor damaged, you can go to these crafting stations and use your crafting materials. One drawback though of this is to upgrade or repair your armor, you're gonna have to insert your armor into the station. So momentarily, you are not gonna have any armor at all. More of these replicators will be dropped into your game as the game moves on. You know, as the circles get smaller and smaller, there may be no more there. So they're gonna airdrop more and more in. And people, to end it all off, even if you're super kitted out, even if you think you have everything, what is in the replicator will not be spawning in your Apex game. So for example, if you have a wingman and you cannot find a skull piercer anywhere, there's a good chance that in the replicator there will be a skull piercer. So the brand new crafting system, it doesn't seem to be a joke. It seems to be pretty legit, and it seems to add an extra, you know, level of, I don't know, people, just variety and fun to Apex. Like, I think this is a pretty cool change. Might be a little bit annoying and tedious for some people, but it's something extra to do if you cannot find anyone, which happens quite a bit in World's Edge. My friends, if you have not figured it out yet, the Hemlock is an absolute meta gun now. I thought it was kind of a meta gun before, you know, it seemed to be pretty good in Season 5. They've kind of been consistently buffing it over the seasons. But now the burst time and a couple of other things have been buffed on the Hemlock, and this thing it absolutely shreds. I mean, 30 bullets in a magazine. If you can learn to recoil control this, what I do is I just slowly pull down as I shoot. The recoil on it, even without a barrel, is pretty okay. The hipfire on the Hemlock is very good if you're in close range and the enemy is weak. And also, people, another tip to you, the Volt SMG, even though it may seem that this thing doesn't have a lot of bullets in the magazine, I mean, it really doesn't. Each magazine can't do too much damage. This thing is still absolutely amazing, and I will explain. So now that all of the armor is evil, you know, all of the health on each armor level has been decreased, so there is no more, you know, super powerful red armor anymore. So you will not need a giant magazine to, you know, kill someone who has maxed out red anymore. So, you know, that's not a huge, enormous difference, but, you know, giant magazines took a little bit of a nerf. They're not, you know, needed as much anymore. Also, people, I really don't think the Volt is for squad wiping solo. Like, I think the Volt is just to heavily help support your team, because I think you'll need help from your teammates to kill people with the Volt unless you have really good aim. And like I was saying earlier in the video, you don't really need a barrel to make this thing work. So say you have a Devotion and then a Volt. If you just find one turbocharger, you can put that thing on the Devotion. The Volt does not need a turbocharger. And also, if you find a barrel, I would definitely put that on the Devotion and not the Volt, because the Volt is already pretty accurate. So what I am saying, people, is the Volt, it is almost an all-around amazing weapon. The one thing is that there's not very much max ammo in each magazine. Like, this thing even reloads really quickly. If you can just quickly go pop a couple couple armors off the enemies and then reload and then go out and finish them off. That is how you will use the Volt, or you will use it to support your team. Also, people, another tip to you is to look out for the Burst Prowler. I was such a huge fan of the Burst Prowler last season. In one of my videos last season, I went in the firing range and went up to one of the dummies. The Burst Prowler will kill one of the dummies in 3 bursts, and this takes just exactly 1 second. Now on the Prowler, they actually increase the recoil on the full auto version, but on the burst, they decrease the recoil. So I haven't had very much of a chance to play a lot of Season 6 because I'm on PC, and it's been really buggy for a lot of us on PC. But I did get this one pretty okay kill with the Burst Prowler, and I really don't think that this kill would have been super possible with the Burst Prowler last season. The Burst Prowler, away from the Devotion, it is the fastest damage per second gun in the entire game, and the reason that it wasn't completely amazing last season is because the recoil was so big, but now the recoil has been decreased, and I think this is an absolute top tier weapon. I try my very best to explain to people nicely that you do not need the full auto version of the Prowler to make it absolutely shred. The burst on it, I really want you to try it and consider it. The full auto version is still pretty good. I think the full auto version is more like the R99 last season. A great loadout that you should try, another great tip, is the Hemlock and the Prowler. You can use the Hemlock to shred people at mid to long range, and then you can pull out the Burst Prowler, which also works at kind of mid range, but you will absolutely destroy people, and no one will kill you faster unless they have the Devotion. Also, people, now supply drop weapons are red, which is going to help a lot. Last season, there was a little bit of confusion with, you know, like supply drop weapons and fully kitted weapons. That will happen no more. Apex is getting better, people. I do believe it. If you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, it'd be super cool if you hit that subscribe button below the video. I'm going to cover Season 6 with as many high quality videos that I can. It's going to be a great place to be here on the channel in Season 6 of Apex Legends. Anyways, people, I really hope you enjoyed this Season 6 tips and tricks video. That'll be about it for me, the Alarmix, and I'll see you guys later.